In a week where I talked about my favorite ongoing fantasy series and my favorite book of all time within the same week, there's only so much you can do to wrap things up, but let's do it. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update, and we are halfway through the month of September now and inching ever closer to Fright Fest 2020. But as always, let's kick things off with what am I reading? Right now, I've been working on finishing up the Licanius trilogy with book number 3, and I'm going to tell you guys, if you follow me on social media or if you're on the Discord, you can hit the Discord in the description below. I'm kind of frustrated with it. And I don't think I'll be doing full reviews for Licanius 2 and 3, but I'm thinking of maybe doing like the good and the bad of Licanius, because I feel like there's a lot of good here, but this third book has really frustrated me on a lot of things that I'd like to talk about. But again, I've had a lot of people hear me say that and they'll be like, okay, well, I can cross that one off my list. Yo, as always, I say read it and make your own decision, because I think there's a lot of great ideas that this book puts forth. I'm just, with about 35% left in the book, I'm not sure if he's going to stick the landing, you know? Again, I'll get into it. Like I said, I will be doing the good and the bad kind of thing eventually. And I'm also reading the new Dresden Files book. I've been telling you guys that for a couple weeks, and I've reached the point where I don't think I can kind of hold it back anymore. I mean, again, I have to hold the review to the 29th. I want that review to be fresh and honest. But there's something that happened in this that I want to tell you about, and what it is I can't tell you. Ha! You like that? So you've been on the Discord. I've kind of dropped a couple of hints, but again, I would never want to spoil something like this for everybody. I'll just say that I feel like the people who were disappointed with peace talks think you're going to be happy. That's all I will say. And sad. All right. So what am I going to read? I'm going to finish those two books up, and then I'm going to kick into the next book in our read along, which is Saint's Blood is Greatcoats number 3. I keep saying it's not too late for you to join us. There are some people who just jumped in the Discord on each month. We're changing the discussion topic, but we've still got plenty of people in there in the general conversation that love to talk with you if you want to try to play catch up. They're surprisingly really quick reads for as thick as some of those the second, third, and fourth book are. But so far, the second book was a really quick read. I think I went through it in like 5 days, and that was with school, with kids, stuff like that. So it's a fun series, and the conversation's been great for it. So I can't wait to get back to that world, because I really like book 1. I like book 2 even more. So if this trajectory keeps up, I think Greatcoats could end up being one of my favorite modern fantasy series, and that's very impressive for a debut author. I've really enjoyed the ride so far, and I hope you'll join us. And what else? I'm going to start kicking into some of my horror stuff after this. Yes, the whole month of October is going to be nothing but horror stuff on the channel as far as videos I make, but I'm only reading 2 new horror books this month, and one is considered fantastical horror, and that is Weave World by Clive Barker. It's going to be my first I read Hellbound Heart, so I can't say it's my first foray into Mr. Barker, but it's my first novel by him. You know, Hellbound Heart's like 80 pages tops, and I read that years ago, so it's basically going to be like a whole new thing to me reading his stuff. So I've had a lot of people lately jump on and say, well, you know, that's not actually horror, it's more fantasy. But there's one horror guy, Emilio, on the server who's like, it's very much horror, it's just fantasy horror. And the description that I read about sounds very much like Talisman from Stephen King. So another book that I'll be reading really soon. But I'm looking forward to jumping into that. But I'm also going to be reading The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. I've actually started that today. The thing is I said I was very frustrated with Licanius. And there was something that happened in Dresden that I felt like I needed to take a break. So I said, hey, this is like, 100 pages. I can go ahead and just dip into that a little bit. And I did that to kind of, cleanse the palate a little bit. And very good start. I can see why Mr. Lovecraft was a big fan of this gentleman, because it really sets the tone, really eerie. And right, that was the first time I was like, ooh, it's getting close to Halloween time. And guys, I love Halloween. I don't know if I can explain how much I love Halloween. So it's just good times all around. But that's pretty much what I've got going for now. So make sure you drop in the comments, tell me what you guys plan to read next. Talk about this week on the channel. Very, very busy week. You didn't think it could get busier than last week after the whole Dune reaction thing, but I did my book haul for August. I said the reason I've kind of been waiting on those is because I feel like at the beginning of the month, everyone drops their TBR update, they drop their book haul, they drop their monthly wrap up, all that stuff. So I like to kind of try to balance those out over the course of the month. Also started to, we continued on Stormlight September. I did my non-spoiler traditional review for Words of Radiance this time. And I'm kind of getting the feeling from the feedback that maybe people didn't love it as much as I did. It seems like they do, but I'm getting a lot of people being like, look, it's a good book, but it isn't as good as you're saying. Well, you know what? To me, it is. And that's what this channel is. It's my opinion, and I would love to hear yours. So obviously, there's never a wrong opinion on any of these things. And for the record, I don't care if I'm saying the name wrong. Sanderson said, say what works for you. I'm saying what works for me. You audiobook people, I love you to death. I also did my spoiler review, which question I got is, was I drunk during that review? No, there was just an event that happens in Words of Radiance that I love so much, it's impossible for me to hide my enthusiasm for it. So that's why the spoiler talk review was a little over the top. But I was having a great time with it. I just love talking about that series. And judging by the traffic, you guys like me talking about Stormlight Archive. So breaking news, Stormlight Archive is very, very popular on BookTube. Who knew? So I'm looking forward to wrapping that up with Oathbringer coming up next week. And that will be a little bit more different. Won't just be me gushing about this really, really sexy girl for, 40 minutes like it has been for the first two videos. But we'll get into that. Of course, I did my Why You Should Read for Dune, which wasn't actually on the schedule, but it was just so many people were requesting it after I did that reaction video. And I think they got a glimpse of just how important that book is to me. So I really enjoyed doing it. There was a lot more cuts in that video than I usually do because I was really hyper. I was really excited. I was so overhyped to talk about that book. I mean, it was just like an animal uncaged because this channel's been around for 18 months. And I'd never talked about my favorite book before. So it was really tough for me to keep my enthusiasm down sometimes. And I let some stuff go that I feel like could have been spoilers from down the line of the series. So I had to cut some stuff out. So, I do these all in one take, but I have started to try to cut down some of the stuff I consider spoilery or just absolutely pointless. So there we go. Maybe one day for patrons, maybe I'll give you director's cuts or something if that's what you really, really want to see. You got a lot of me sneezing and the kids knocking on the door and the dog barking and the doorbell ringing and stuff like that. So, hey, that's the content you're here for. I can provide. And that was pretty much on the channel this week. Very, very busy week, obviously. Let's talk about some next week plans. Obviously, I just said I'm going to wrap up Stormlight September with Oathbringer. Same format. I'm going to do the traditional non-spoiler review. Then I'm going to do some spoiler talk because I feel like that has generated a ton of discussion. And I love that because, honestly, guys, I read these books 3 years ago. Sometimes it's tough for me to remember everything. And while I've said I'm really using those as a forum to open up discussion with you guys, I'm enjoying it because you guys are reminding me of some things that I didn't remember, which is just great. So, I feel like everybody kind of needed that refresher before Rhythm of War comes out this week. It's been 3 years for everybody since Oathbringer came out. So while I've been putting together some of my thoughts for Oathbringer, I've been like, you know what? I really think that I might feel differently. Here's the thing. I did not hate the book. People are going to say I hated the book. It was my least favorite of the three that are out right now. I feel like it suffered a little bit from middle book syndrome, but I'm kind of tipping my hand where I'm going to go. I'm just saying I've already started thinking that's going to be a book I think I enjoy more in a reread because Words of Radiance just set the bar so high for me. I just said that was my favorite fantasy book of the generation. So obviously I had high hopes for Oathbringer that were probably almost impossible to hit. But again, we'll get into that later this week. I can't wait to talk about it. I'll be going back into the multiverse, which I delayed for a week for Why You Should Read Dune. And I'm going to be doing The Body, which, as most of you know, is Stand By Me. That very, very dear book to me. I love different seasons so much. That's why I broke it into to 4 different videos. And The Body is maybe the best coming-of-age story I've ever read. So regardless of how much less traffic my Stephen King videos get than everything else, I can't wait to talk about it. I'm really excited. In fact, I was on a panel with my guy Jaime Fuego from the horror show. It's not going to actually debut until October because it's for a convention, but it was me and 4 other Stephen King maniacs talking about best and worst Stephen King adaptations, and it was really weird. It was really easier to pick the worst stuff than what's the best stuff when it comes to adaptations. But it's always fun talking King with other constant readers, constant watchers. Always a good time. I think I'm going to also kick up my fall TBR. The Fright Fest schedule is not going to be announced until October 1st. I already have that video in the can. It's something that for an event. I want October to be an event on the channel. Again, if you want to know the video schedule for that, click on the Discord and come on in. Drop me a direct message. I am trying to keep it sort of under wraps, not like a huge secret, but if there are people who want to read some of these books before I review them, I got no problem sharing that list with you. But I don't just want to put it out there because, like I said, that's all the fun in an announcement trailer, right? So it's going to be a good time. I can't wait to talk about it. But my fall TBR, there is stuff I plan to read in November and December as we wrap up everything. I'm clearing the decks before Malazan starts. I don't want any series that I plan on continuing to really interfere with Malazan next year. So that is why I'd like to do one more TBR list for the year. And then I'm thinking of maybe doing a spoiler talk for The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie. Just because I've done them all before. I think the non-spoiler review decent. Here's the thing: is I'm on the server and I'm just noticing it's like there's a new Joe Abercrombie book out and the discussion for it is really low. And I was like, man, I thought my channel brought in a lot of First Law fans, and it's really just amazing to me that this many of you still have not read First Law. And I'm excited for you and I'm sad for you. I'm sad because you have it, and I'm excited because when you do, you're going to find this new thing that you love. So I hope you will actually pick up the First Law and read it and then get into the sequel trilogy because it is every bit as good, guys. It's a good time. It's as good of a time as you can have when, people are dying everywhere. But it's, I loved the book. I loved the second book in this. I liked it better than A Little Hatred. So I was excited to talk about it. And I want to talk about some spoilers because the thing I'm learning about advanced reader copies, and you're probably going to be like, oh, poor you. Yeah, yes, it is reviewer problems. Don't get me wrong here. But it does suck when it's something that you really, really want to talk to people about and no one else you know has read it and you can't talk about it yet. So I have been bursting at the seams to talk about some of these spoilers and these crazy twists and turns that happen in Trouble with Peace. So I'm going to try to do that next week as well. And that is pretty much the plans as of now. There is a couple of non-book things I do want to talk about here. There was a new trailer for The Mandalorian Season 2. And for the guy who said, I don't like doing reaction videos, I did 2 of them within a week of each other. And here's the thing. The reason I did the one for The Mandalorian is because my kid is absolutely bonkers for The Mandalorian. He thinks it's the best thing going right now. And that's awesome to me as someone who grew up at his age loving Star Wars. So it's a fun thing that we can share. And personally for me, while I have my problems with the Disney Star Wars, I've never tried to influence that in him. I want him to be of his own mind, make his own decisions. So I've never really tried to influence how he feels about the new stuff. But he kind of checked out on the movies just as like I did. But he really, really liked The Mandalorian so much that he wants to be the Mandalorian for Halloween this year. If the virus that shall not be named lets us do trick-or-treating. But I did the reaction video with him, and it was fun. And it was a genuine reaction from both of us, and it was kind of neat watching some parts of us have the exact same reaction with the eyes getting big at the same time, stuff like that. So it's something I've been trying to get him to kind of make his debut on the channel here. We read the first couple Harry Potter books together, first 3 Harry Potter books together. Kind of stalled out in book 4. Don't know. Well, I do know why. Kids don't care about Barty Crouch Jr. They don't care about stuff like that. That's just it. So I kind of lost him on Goblet of Fire, but we'll get back to it eventually. But I've been trying to get him to come on the channel to do like a review of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone with me or something like that. And he's like, okay. And then we get in front of the camera. He shrinks up. He doesn't know what to do. So that felt like that was a good first kind of introduction to him on the channel, where he was kind of in his element, where all he's got to do is just make faces, because that's what reaction videos apparently are. But as far as Mandalorian Season 2, man, I think it looks awesome. I love that it looks like they are leaning a bit more into the stuff that us Star Wars, the old guard, loves. I feel like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they're more on board with giving the old Star Wars fans what they love and not telling us how terrible we are, like a lot of pundits have for the last few years. So I feel like it's definitely going to be I hope not a crazy nostalgia fest. I have no problems with it. I love nostalgia just like the last person, but you need to make sure you're doing more. They went to Tatooine in season one. That was really awesome. But I'm like, okay, but I hope they don't like go to Hoth this year or Bespin or something. Okay, I hope they don't try to do that. But seeing things like a Bantha and a Tusken Raider and the X-wings and the Stormtroopers and the speeder bikes and Jedi. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, what Star Wars fan's not going to be excited to see that stuff? So I'm excited to see what Favreau's got in store for us October the 30th. So should be fun. It's become like a real big family thing here. We don't do much of the weekly viewing, but we're real binge watchers. But we made the Mandalorian into like a family thing. So it's really cool. I can't wait for it to come back. It looks awesome. Hey, you guys watch this show called Raised by Wolves on HBO Max? I don't know anybody who has HBO Max, but some people on the server have been talking about it. And look, I absolutely love Vikings. Vikings is one of my favorite shows ever, right? And part of that is because Travis Fimmel is amazing on that show. It is like one of the best performances I've ever seen in a television series. And he's in that show. And I said, no matter what he does after Vikings, I'm going to watch it. So I'm interested in watching this, but I'm interested in the feedback because I keep hearing people talk about it. I'm like, well, is it good? And they're like, it's really strange. But is it good? It's really strange. So I'm like, I really haven't figured out if it's actually good yet or not. So if you guys have any feedback on that, please hit me with it. Before I talk about movies here, only thing I really have to say is, because I talked last week about how they're probably going to delay Dune, I showed my kid Big Trouble in Little China for the first time. Felt like he was old enough for it. I was his age when I watched it. Look, I'm an unabashed Kurt Russell fanboy. I love everything the guy's ever done. It's just one of my favorite actors. My favorite actor when I was a kid. I just never really grew out of it. I mean, from a romantic comedy to an action star, I thought that guy could do everything. Only Jack Burton could make a mullet that cool and a big trucker cap. But he enjoyed it. He enjoyed it a lot. I knew he would. I felt like he's really into anime and stuff a lot now. He loved Avatar. Avatar's on Netflix now, and Legend of Korra. So he's been watching that. He loves the new Voltron, stuff like that. And he's really got into a lot more anime that I don't even know the name of. Guys, you guys are the anime experts, not me. But I thought this is kind of almost like a American fish out of water into a live action anime is the way that I always kind of looked at Big Trouble in Little China. So of course he loved it. He loved Egg Shin. He loved the whole sorcerer battle, and they're fighting with the gem lasers, and they turn into warriors that are sword fighting, and he was just over the moon. He loved it. So that made me happy. Anytime you get a chance to share one of your favorite bad movies of all time with your kids and they love it, it's just awesome. Probably the most fun I've had watching a childhood movie favorite of mine with him since Goonies. That was probably the last one. I really just had a really fun bonding moment. So I love Big Trouble in Little China. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's excellent. And you know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this? He says that's it for this week, guys. So what have you been doing? What have you been reading? What have you been playing? What have you been listening to? What are you doing, guys? What are you reading? Drop in the comments. Let me know and have yourselves a great, great weekend.